What's up, y'all? This is Shuffle, and this is our Let's Play one-shot series where I just kind of do one video on a game, not like a huge dedicated series of multiple episodes, so it's kind of this review, Let's Play hybrid deal in real time, which is kind of my style. So we're going to show off Path of Exile, which is one of my favorite ARPGs, and probably the best one out of the big three. You know, because you have Diablo 3, Path of Exile. I can't even call it like the big three, it's more like the big three on console. You know, because then you have Marvel Heroes, which is a fun game, but I feel like Path of Exile is probably the best one. And this was out on PC for a while, but the reason I'm covering it now is because it moved to console, so there's probably a few people who are like, what the fuck is this game? It's shown up in my Xbox store. I've been playing it a bit since I got into the beta. You know, that was in August, and I played it for about a week. And then it went down, and then it launched, and now we're here. And so Path of Exile... it's like your normal ARPG. It's, you know, build your character, get loot, kill shit, get better loot, keep building your character, get stronger, and try and just do the content, you know. And it's pretty fun. I like it a lot. Otherwise, I wouldn't be covering it, which, yeah, it's kind of redundant. So let's actually start examining the bits and pieces. You know, we'll kill some stuff in a minute, just to have some action going on, so don't worry about that. So, I guess the first thing to talk about is Path of Exile has 7 character classes. Okay, you start with 6. You can pick whatever 6 you want. There's no like microtransaction because the game is free to play. And all you have to really do if you want to spend cash is buy storage space, which you know you will need at some point probably. You don't need too much if you're really thrifty, or not thrifty, but just you know good at managing your supplies. You know, and you can just buy cosmetics. You know, let's show off the store. So you can buy points, and there's no like bonus for buying more points at a time besides getting, you know, some free swag so you get more armor sets or whatever. If you want to spend $400 on the game, go ahead. Yeah, so you know you get armor sets, which are cosmetics, you know, random boxes, stash tabs, weapon graphics, so all this cool stuff. You know, you can look at it if you ever, you know, jump in the game, but it's all free. Like I said, the game is free, and if you want to buy stuff, you can buy the cosmetics, which is my favorite kind of microtransactions if I have to have a favorite. You know, like there are a lot of other games where it's like, oh, you have to buy this character, oh, you have to, you know, buy, you know, just random boosts and shit like that, and that's not in this game, which is pretty cool. And so if you've ever played Final Fantasy X, this is going to look familiar. I'm going to tab over to it, so try not to be overwhelmed. Alright, okay, I forgot. We have to zoom out. This is your skill tree. Right? And, you know, I'm a witch, so I start over here. This is your skill tree. This is the Path of Exile skill tree. And it was one of the... I love it. It's the, you know, one of the coolest things I've seen in an RPG, because I like the sphere grid. Oh my god, I couldn't even say that word. The sphere grid in Final Fantasy X. You know, I thought that was a cool system, and here it is in an action RPG. It is pretty overwhelming at first, and I suck at character builds, so I usually just copy pasta mine. And I'm trying to get better at builds, and I'll try and make my own characters at some point. But what ends up happening with your character, the class you choose dictates where you start on this map. Okay, you see these other things right here, this little symbol right next to my cursor? With the face, that's where a different character is going to start. So each class starts at a different spot on this this grid, and it's kind of broken up by color, which the colors are right here. You have red is strength, blue is intelligence, green is dex, and the grid is actually broken up like that to where blue's kind of up top, green's kind of on the right, and then red's on the left, and they kind of hybridize in between, and that's the basis of the skill tree. So you can build any fucking thing you want if you can, you know, if you're creative enough and you can move around on the skill tree, because, you know, you get 1 point per level and then you get points for doing quests and stuff like that. And so the bonuses are really small too. You don't, what's different about this is you don't pick a skill and that's like, oh, I got fireball. You know, you don't put in a talent to get fireball. We'll talk about skill gems in a sec. You know, you get passives. So increased energy shield, you know, just get a bunch of boosts, increased intelligence, get stats, minion buffs, cast speed. I'm just reading them off to you, but there's literally anything you can think of in the game is on this. You can even go freaking Harry Potter status and have a wand build with a witch, because, wands are weapons, and you can actually buff your wand and get wand skills and stuff. And, there's summons, there are weapons, there are elemental attacks, there's all kinds of just crazy, crazy shit here. So that's what's really fun about it. And so you have these giant skills right here. These are called keystones, I believe, and they're supposed to fundamentally dictate how your character plays, so you kind of decide, am I going for something crazy? Something big, one that I'm trying that I haven't tried before, even though I don't think it's as good as it used to be from what I've been reading, is Chaos Inoculation. So you see here, maximum life, becomes 1, but you become immune to chaos damage. And so chaos damage is a type that ignores a different type of health, which is called energy shield. So you see here, my stats, my life is just 1, but I have a ton of energy shield to compensate. That's kind of how the build's supposed to work. And the reason you become immune to chaos damage is because it is a damage type, but like I said, it skips past energy shield, and in the immortal words of Yugi, it attacks your life points directly. And so it's surprisingly nice. I'm not going to get too heavy into it right now, because I feel like I'm already getting off track and overwhelming with this kind of stuff. But there's all kinds of stuff, right? You can do shield builds, you can do melee builds, bow builds, spell builds, summon builds, support builds, where you just become like a fucking aura bot and just put a bunch of auras on your character and run around and help people. So lots of fun stuff's on the skill tree. And so you have to kind of pick, do I want to make like this character, that character, and then that kind of tells you where you're going to start. And there's a lot of simple stuff, right? You see here elemental damage, so fire, frost, lightning, just increase that. Increase lightning damage, increase fire damage. So, like, all the stuff's here. You just kind of, once you have an idea in mind, you start filling out the nodes that you're looking for. And there's a lot of awesome build guides or whatever talking about how to build characters and stuff. So I'm not going to get too far into it, because I feel like that's beyond the scope of what's happening. I'm just trying to give you an overview. And so, your gear looks like you'd expect, right? 2 rings, necklace, body armor, main hand, offhand, stuff like that. So, okay, these are important. So right here, you see how all the gear, well, most of it has sockets, right? So the sockets are what skills are for Path of Exile. Like I said before, you don't put in a point and get Fireball, or whatever. You actually, I always do that, you actually go over here and you get a blue skill gem called Fireball. And then you put that in your gear, and that lets you use Fireball. That's how it's supposed to work. And so there's all kinds of creative and crazy-ass combinations you can do by putting in all these skill gems. So you have, like, attack skills, like my bow. Over here, I have this caustic arrow. This is like a poison arrow. You hit people, it does damage, makes like a poison cloud or whatever. And that's my attack, okay? And then you see here there's links between all the sockets, and you put in a bunch of supports with it. And the supports, buff your skill, and that's kind of what you do. You pick various combinations of skills, offensive and defensive, and you kind of, put in all the supports you can. My concentration's starting to waver because my dog will not shut the fuck up. You see here on the bottom right, I have a little skill wheel down there. So you have 4 skills, actually you get 8, and since we're on console, we have to use the double face map kind of thing. So all your active stuff's usually on the front. You put all your, auras and supplementary shit on the back. We had to make a jump cut there. But yeah, so those are your skills. You can just, get all your detailed stats about their damage and all kinds of stuff and put them on. It's like, this is the fun of Path of Exile, is when you start looking at all this stuff and start trying to theorize what crazy shit you can do. So, yeah. Those are skills. Inventory, we saw inventory. Cosmetics, pretty self-explanatory. Decorations. This is a hideout. This isn't really important until later. But you get your own little personal space. You can decorate it, put NPCs in it, and stuff like that. And the stash, this is shared between your characters. Mine's a complete disaster, because I just get lazy about organizing, and I need to actually spend some time doing it, but there's so much going on. And there's actually a lot of currency in the game here. All this is basically money. There's no gold in Path of Exile. There's no default universal currency except maybe Chaos Orbs and Exalted or something like that. But you basically trade these with other players for stuff, and what is really cool is these double as currency, but also this is how you make your gear better. You know, all of this stuff basically re-rolls, you know, all the properties of your gear. You can re-roll your sockets, including the amount, how many are linked, and what color they are, because you see we have 3 different colors, right? We have red, green, and blue, which go back to the stats we were talking about. So you can link all your stuff together. Very important. And getting big links, like, you know, 6 sockets with everything linked together is very powerful, but also very hard to get. So those things do usually worth a lot. And I'm going to take this moment to highlight my boots. A Skyforce. I might be one of the few people on Xbox that have them. I shouldn't even have them. I got really lucky with an RNG drop. So hopefully I don't know, be a little braggadocious about something no one actually cares about. And so these NPCs are really cool. They sell you stuff, you level them up, they get more stuff. You know, they have special gear, and the higher level they get, the more stuff they get. And they eventually start giving you things like this, you know, to help modify your gear. You can use these to put different effects on your gear. You know, you see here 8 to 12% movement speed. You know, this is all helpful, extra life. You know, there's a lot of fine-tuning your stuff. That's really what the game is. It's find loot, find the currency, sell the loot you don't want, get currency to modify all the gear that you do want, and buy the gear you want. So it's really, really fun. I like it a lot. And on the console, there's a trade board, which maybe I'll throw in a clip. The trade board is there because we don't have the chat box that the PC has, so the trade board is kind of like an auction house almost, where it's like an auction house with no buyout feature, where they list their items, and then you send them an offer of, you know, the currency, the orbs. You know, you'll be like, hey, I'll give you, you know, like 3 Chaos Orbs for your bow or something like that. And then if the person likes it, they'll take, you know, they can click accept, and then they'll get my Chaos Orbs, and then I get their bow. So it's a really cool system. It's pretty shitty right now in terms of implementation. Like, there's no filters. The only filter you get is like online players, but it's kind of a mess, so hopefully when they straighten out some of the stuff, it'll be a lot better. But it's a good basis, you know, a lot of room to work. And so, without getting too hard into character builds, basically you just pick 1 or 2 offensive skills, kind of go all in on those, and then you pick your defenses and your auras and your supports. This is a map that I started a little bit ago. This is actually take 2 of this video. I kind of fucked up the first one. So, maps are just randomly generated things, so like D3 rifts, if you've ever done that. So the zones are random, the enemies are loosely random, depending, and the loot is random, but there's specific loot that is tied to specific areas, so you can target farm what you're looking for. And so right here, we have tentacles because that's a graphic. That's actually the reason I wanted to do caustic arrows, because you can get a cosmetic to make tentacles shoot out of the ground, and I thought it was hilarious. So I actually did that, and I forgot to turn on this option. I like to see the health bars on my enemies, which it always turns off on console for some reason. But you have the standard system you might be used to, where you have, what is it, you see here, everything's different colored, and it's kind of, again, everything's a little overwhelming at first when you see it, so you have to I should say it's better when you start from scratch, because you know, they have a decent tutorial, and they kind of hold your hand for about 4 seconds, and then they just throw you out. Like, alright, you got it, you're good. So you see here, this is a skill gem. You know, you can pick those up, it's different color. White quality items are normal quality. You know, you find those probably the most, and they're kind of like the foundation. And that's kind of a really cool part about Path of Exile is, in other RPGs, you know, you'll be like, oh, this is, you know, white item, green item, blue, whatever. It's like, I don't need this shit, I don't even pick it up, right? And in Path of Exile, normally you can actually make some really good stuff from white items if you're dedicated enough. That's kind of like your basis. You know, you find the item you want with like a good link setup, or like something you can kind of build off of, and then you can upgrade them into yellow items with things like Orb of Alchemy, so you can make them rares, which are the yellows, right? And so you can upgrade a shitty white item or something, or you can get some decent sockets, and then you can upgrade it into a rare, and then it's actually okay. And that's kind of the basis of the game. It's like, pick up stuff, transform stuff. You know, it's not just your normal, oh, this is garbage, so I'm not grabbing it kind of thing. You know, a lot of it is garbage, which is kind of contradictory, but I mean, what I mean is that, like, quality doesn't dictate what you throw away. You know, I hope that makes sense. And so, you know, the Rift this is a pretty tame Rift, this is why I picked it. You know, it's pretty beneficial for my build. I can just walk around and shoot stuff. You know, nothing's too threatening, so I can look like I'm actually good at the game when I'm not. But yeah, lots of just currency all over the place. Kill stuff. There's the same quality system of white, blue, yellow, and orange also translates to the enemy types. So you have white enemies, which are basically trash. Blue enemies are a little stronger. They have like some kind of modifier. And then you have yellow enemies, which, you know, have a few modifiers. They're a lot stronger, and their loot pools are better. And then you have orange enemies, which are like mini bosses. You know, they're usually pretty tanky, do good damage. You know, have a lot of modifiers, but also drop the best stuff. So, damn, this is actually kind of loud. Let me turn this down on my TV. But yeah, so you just run around, farm. The whole point of your build is to get it as efficient as possible. You know, so you want to make sure that you can, you know, kill quickly. That's usually the best point. You know, which I know it sounds kind of obvious, right? Oh, you have to kill really quickly, and that does matter. But also, you need to have enough defense to not like get one shot by everything. So you can't go full glass cannon in this game, which is, oh, there's two bosses. That must have been a map modifier. Yeah, you know, a lot of other games feel like, oh, I'm gonna go full glass cannon. Just, you know, I'll not get hit. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how I'm gonna play. And it's like, no, you can't. You almost can't do that in this game. You probably, maybe if you're really incredible as a player, you can. But I don't know. Most people I see just, when they build their characters, they start with defense first. You know, so kind of like go defense and then pick your offense. And respecking is actually really hard in this game. You know, you can respec points, but the point respec thing isn't too easy to farm up. You know, you don't get like free, I pay this much and I get a free full character respec. It's really, I have to do it one point at a time, and you saw how big that talent tree was, so you can't, you know, just redo everything on a whim. You have to really dedicate what you're doing and plan it out. I almost died. Holy fuck. Alright, just killed that asshole. Pick up the maps, because even if I don't go on these, I'm gonna try and roll them up or something like that to get slightly higher level ones. Sorry for the sudden jump cut. My dog started flipping out, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop talking until he calms down. And so that was a map. I mean, that's post game. You'll find out if you ever do play it and complete the campaign or whatever. You'll deal with that shit. But basically, it's just randomly generated. What is it? Encounters, fight stuff, get stuff. The campaign is very long. Actually, even if you speedrun, it's still going to take you a few hours. And there's 10 acts. It used to be different than this. It used to be 3 acts that you could do 3 different difficulties. So you had to go through it, you know, basically 9 times. Right? You had to play through the game 3 times, basically do 9 acts. And then they added Act 4. And with Act 4 came subclasses, which I completely forgot to talk about. So at a certain point, you can unlock Ascendancy, which is your subclass. And these have some pretty, same thing, pretty crazy, what is it, talents that you can pick. You know, and each character class gets 3 subclasses, and these actually do a really good job of dictating your build. So again, you have to plan it out, have to kind of research it. Usually when you play this game, your first couple characters are going to be honestly garbage, because you don't know what you're doing. And it's not that I'm trying to pick on you. I mean, maybe you're really good and you'll research everything, or maybe it'll click way better for you than it did for me or something like that. But what what is it? When I started playing like the first like 5 characters I made, I was like, oh, this character's shit. You know, the first one was at like level 30. I went, oh, this is garbage, and then I got another one up higher. This is like back from the PC days, but you know, it's a lot of trial and error. But once you kind of understand the game, it becomes more rewarding. You know, not just in terms of gear, but you know, in terms of enjoyment. So if you really want to have something that has complexities and you know makes you really play a lot and grind it and understand it and research it, you know, this is probably the game for you. You know, my voice is kind of cracked right there because it's it's getting worn out. Yeah, so we have the stash we talked about. There are merchants. You know, you can sell stuff, and like I said, you don't get normal currency, you know, like gold or something. So if you want to sell stuff, you'll get, you know, shards that make the orbs and stuff like that to upgrade your gear. So that's kind of the system. And, you know, different merchants selling stuff. They have their lore. You can talk to them about stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. And there's various side questing you have access to. You know, you can get prophecies where you pay this person some currency. They give you a sub-quest or like a side quest that sometimes gives you nothing and sometimes gives you rewards. You know, and you have to go find it, so you can get some really cool stuff from that. Then there's this guy, you can trade in fucking Pokemon cards to him. I think I have some. I don't think I have any to actually trade in, but, you know, I have an actual tab for it. And so, you get these, and it's like, if I get 3 of these, I get a map, and it tells you what the reward is. You know, there's a bunch of these. Alright, so I'm, again, not trying to overwhelm, but, you know, if you play, you'll start finding them. This is the trade board, which, like I said, has no filters. You know, you can pick whatever and then see what everyone's selling. You can see their sockets, what they're asking for. And even though there's an asking price, you don't have to pay that, right? You can just send them whatever. They can be like, oh, I want, you know, no orbs of fusing. You know, and if it says 0, they're kind of like, I want this, so you send me however many you think you should get it for, you know, with these orbs of fusing. You know, or if you really want to, you can send them, you know, your nail clippings, right? You know, you can just send them whatever. And if they like what you sent them, they'll take it, and then you get the item. And so, it's all kinds of shit. Like, you just get pages of garbage. That's what people were complaining about. They're like, we can't filter it. It's just shit. There's just shit everywhere. And so offers, this is on your stuff. No one's offered on anything I have that I'm selling right now. Sent offers. This guy wanted 2 Chaos Orbs for this fucking necklace, so I sent him 2. Probably should have sent him like 4, maybe 3. I don't know. But I was going to try and like either use this or flip it. One of the two. Oh, he rejected. Why is it... Okay. I just saw it up there. It says rejected. Oh, that means I can take my shit. Okay. Nice. Right on. He probably sold it to someone else. That's why it said that. Anyway. What else can we cover? There's another subclass building stuff. You get this later. There's the Pantheon. You power this up. You capture powerful, you know, gods in the campaign or whatever, and you pick like one big one and one small one. You get various buffs. So just a lot of passives, right? I think that's the important thing here. The skills, like all the skill trees are just passives. So it's like, how do you use those passives? That's what makes it really important. That's how you kind of define your characters. And the gems level up with you. You know, if you have the stats or whatever, they get stronger. Was this +2 levels? Ooh, that's right, my bow. So, what else have I missed? You get potions, you get up to 5. And your potions can do more than just heal you. Right? You get 5 of them, you can have them, you know, give you resistances, remove effects. These are actually pretty important. You know, like removing freeze is like one of the best ones. You know, even though this potion isn't that good because it doesn't have like a double buff thing going on. You know, things like remove freeze, remove burning, stuff like that. All that's really helpful. So, this game is really, really cool. Like I said, very grind heavy, and I think it allows for a lot of creativity, which is what I like. And so if you like ARPGs and you have an Xbox or a PC if you want to play on PC, definitely check it out. Like I said, free to play. No bullshit like I have to buy characters or whatever. It's, like I said, you have to buy stash space, but that's not a big deal. You know, because at some point you're going to want to anyway. And, what else? What did we miss? Did we miss anything? I don't know. So we talked about the campaign. Now there's 10 acts. We talked about, or we kind of like glossed over the character stuff, you know, like character building, right? And stats, and skills, and inventory, yep, cosmetics, the hideout, the NPCs we talked about. Maybe, did we talk about all those NPCs, like, in depth? I shouldn't say in depth, but I don't know. I should have scripted this better, man. I don't have anything else, like, written down or whatever. These here, oh yeah, we did talk about them, right? How they give you stuff and you can level them up and all kinds of cool stuff. Stuff. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. This game is pretty challenging. You know, there's kind of that learning curve, and even though you can play on hardcore, I think you have to be pretty good to play on hardcore in this game because, you know, even though I was like trucking that, you know, that battle thing, that map that you guys saw me in, even though it's kind of like running it over with, like, you know, one shot most of the stuff, it's very easy to die in this game. Like, you can get caught by a freeze, you know, if you fall asleep and don't hit your potion to unfreeze yourself. You know, like, you can literally get frozen or stunned or something and die in a full second, you know, from full HP. Just a bunch of shit hits you at the same time, so it's really, it's pretty challenging. So it's like, if you play on hardcore, good luck. I feel like that's where good players actually are. But otherwise, yeah. Like I was saying, check it out. Really fun. Lots of stuff. Lots of hours of playtime that you can do farming. And what's really cool is as you're playing, you know, even though you're... Like, I've been playing this character for, you know, probably like 40 hours, maybe 50 into her. And, you know, you're playing here and it's like, oh, I got this poison arrow shooting archer. And that's like, I could make something else. I can make a melee class, you know, like a marauder that uses ice crash or whatever, which like sends icy shockwaves at shit or whatever. Like, you can just make all kinds of crazy stuff. It's really fun. So yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't want to get too much farther than that. So I think we're good, right? We covered all the shit. So grinding, gear, games, no. Yeah, grinding for gear, in-depth character customization, free to play. Runs actually pretty good on console. You know, sometimes it crashes when you like switch zones, but it's like pretty rare. I get it like once every like 5 hours or something of playtime. You know, and when I am playing. So, yeah. If you guys decide to give it a try, awesome. Let me know what you think. And I think that's it for this one. And thanks for watching. You know, got other stuff, you want to look at it. I'll cover a couple other games on the one-shots soon. I want to do Marvel Heroes Omega. I recorded one, but it came out to a fucking hour. And no one wants to watch that, so I need to synthesize it a little more. And then I'm going to do a game called Valdis Abyssal City, which I haven't beat it. And I don't like it that much, but, you know, I'll still show it off, kind of thing. So anyway, I think I've talked enough. Alright, I need to shut up. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.